What's up, my beautiful people? Welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Hoka newest super shoes, Rocket X2 versus their old Rocket X. And that wasn't a super shoes to me, even though I absolutely love the shoes. But before we go anywhere, for those who are new, welcome to the channel. HellahGood here. I've been running every day since May 15, 2017. I ran across the United States from LA to New York City in 84 days, which was 3,061 miles. I recently just did my first 100-mile race, and this summer I'm running another 100-mile race, which is at Western State. And stay tuned because we're working on a race this spring. We don't know which race yet, but we're staying ready for it. So there's so many content that we're going to be bringing. But let's show you the shoes immediately. This is the OG. This is the Rocket X. This shoe has been here for, I think, about 3 years now. And this shoes, when I first saw it, I thought it was one of the ugliest shoes out there. And mind you, the shoe doesn't perform ugly. It looks ugly, so I always go for the look for shoes first, which you shouldn't do, and then come for second. But the more that I wore the shoes, I fell in love with it because the way it made me feel, the way it performed. So immediately, my love for it has changed. When they say when you love something, it doesn't matter what it looks like. So that's what happened with me with the Rocket X. Love is blind. Have you seen that show? It is true with this, because if you put a blindfold on me and say, "Hell, run with these shoes," I would be like, I absolutely love it. But the fact that I saw it first, it wasn't the case. And sometimes love isn't always blind. Because when I saw the Rocket X2, I'm like, oh my goodness, you guys brought this beautiful thing to us. And I was just excited. I got extremely biased in my head. I thought this shoe is gonna be a fast shoes because it looks like a fast shoes, right? So let's see, look at this. We have the Rocket X2 here. And then if you look at the Rocket X, this doesn't look as fast as the X2. Just visually, just by the look of it, right? So now I'm gonna tell you exactly how I feel after I put 30 miles in this, and it was been intense 30 miles, like performing. I'm talking about run workout. I've been doing tempo runs, intervals, steady pace at a certain high pace for me according to what I'm able to run. So I also have, this is the color that's not going to be released. This is like for the elites. I was grateful and blessed enough to have that, but this is the launch color that will be available. So let's go straight into it. I don't like to talk about numbers so much when it comes to shoes. I want to talk about if you give someone that doesn't know anything about shoes, when they put it on, how do they feel? How does it make them? So this is my kind of shoe review, because I know there's so many YouTube channel out there that does the numbers and that does all these things. Shout out to Kafuzi if you're watching this. They're really good at that. So if you want to get all the numbers, the detail, the nitty gritty, go to them. But all I'm going to say over here is, in terms of number, is the heel to toe, the 5mm drop. They're both 5mm. So it's very similar at that point, right? And then the ounces, the weight, based on my shoe size with the Rocket X2 over here, this is about 8.18 ounce, so about 231 grams. And in terms of this one, I just saw on the Hoka website, it says 7.4 ounce, but I don't know based on what shoe size, because it depends on the size, right? Immediately, this Rocket X has a CM AVA. So the CM stands for compression molded foam. It's AVA foam. So this foam is supposed to be responsive. I thought it was comfortable until I put on the Rocket X2 because it's a different type of foam. This shoe, once breaking in, you do notice that it does have some kind of cushioning in it, and it has a full carbon plate underneath it. So it does give you the response that you need, and it's soft enough once you break it in. And it has a honeycomb style texture here. It's a little bit on the harder side, but it's very breathable. It's really light. Now, if you come to let's do the launch color. If you come to the Rocket X2, we have a complete different foam. This is the PIBA foam. Ladies and gentlemen, if you know about super shoes, most super shoes, especially your likes of Nikes and things like that, they use the PIBA foam. So this is a 2-layer PIBA foam. So this shoes, as soon as you start squeezing it, you know immediately this is much softer than the original Rocket X. And to me, I think that Hoka didn't even need to name this the Rocket X2. They could have named this a complete different shoes, because I feel like it doesn't even have the same DNA. Usually when there's an upgrade from a shoes, you pay attention to it. There's not that much of a modification, just a slight twist to it. This one looks like they started from scratch. It wasn't like you can see any similarity between this Rocket X. Look at it. Does this look similar at all? Even looking at it. And if you look at the Rocket X2, it looks like it's a jet. It's ready to take off. It has that tail. It has that rocker look to it. And if you look at this, it looks like it's a running shoes, but it's not ready to take off right now. It's like you gotta like whip it a little bit to get it going. So that's my experience comparing these two with. When it comes to performance now, I really thought this shoes did the job for me. Whenever I used to do a faster run or a workout, and to a point I was so obsessed with it, I would wear my easy run. It really propels you forward. It really works well. It's comfortable. But I was able to get more energy with the Rocket X2. This one propelled me forward. It was really bouncy. As soon as you put it on, each step that you take whether you're walking or running, you feel that bounce immediately. With this one, as you walk, you don't feel any bounce. You have to kind of put a force on the ground for the bounce to be felt to push you forward. But now that being said, super shoes are not, what I've learned with the Rocket X2, it is comfortable, it's quick, it is much quicker than the Rocket X. It has this mesh on top of the upper is much lighter. It's more breathable. I noticed that when I was running in the cold with both of them, I was getting more air through my toes. So on a hot day, this is gonna be very valuable. One of the things that I noticed in Kofuzi's video, he said when he was running the Miami half, he noticed that when he was pouring water on himself, it keeps going to the shoes, but it wasn't going away. So even though this felt breathable to me when I was running in the cold, I felt air coming in. But to him, he wished that it would have dried a little quicker because of the moisture that was getting held in there. So it might not be as breathable when it's wet, but as a cool temperature, it is breathable. Maybe if you're running in the heat without having sweaty feet or having water on yourself, it might feel breathable. So I have yet to test that part out. But let me tell you all something. I did feel like this shoes was making my tempo run so much faster. Yes, I'm building some kind of fitness and base, but this shoes will propel me forward. And yeah, I also tell myself, maybe it's a placebo. You know, when you know something is supposed to do something, you automatically believe in it, so your mindset will change. But every time I'm running in these shoes, the 30 miles I've put in on it so far, each of those miles, I'm like, it feels brand new still. It feels like I just put it on. It felt like the first time I'm taking that step you take forward, it does feel broken in. In terms of the Rocket X, this does not feel broken in. The first few runs with these, I'm like, I don't know about this. I'm not sure about it. It feels a little firm. But in due time, once it breaks in, it's a complete different shoes. So I think that tells you about the type of foam that they have. This foam has to be broken in. It has to be compressed against each other, to be pounded against each other to finally break in the inside of it. With the Piba foam, it immediately feels like it's broken in because it's much softer foam. I don't know the whole technology and science behind it, but it is a softer foam, this Piba foam versus the Eva foam. I will say though, super shoes don't work unless you work. That is a fact. So you might put on a super shoes. If you're not fit, you might think that it's gonna make you run a little bit faster. It will make you feel comfortable because there are soft, comfortable shoes, but it will not run fast unless if you run fast. I noticed that. On the warm-up, I feel comfortable, but it's not doing much for me. But as soon as my turn around, my cadence starts going, then the shoe's like, okay, this person wants me to work now. I'm here to do my job. Then you feel all the propulsion getting propelled forward. You feel the foam working. Everything, every shot, every landing, you feel the absorption from the foam, the Piba foam. Same thing with the Rocket X. But the Rocket X, you do not feel that much the same absorption you feel on the Rocket X2. It's a completely different shoes. I do think it will complement each other though. You can end up making this a training shoes, the Rocket X. This is your trainer. This is your race shoes. But you do also have to train in your race shoes, so don't just do all the running in this. You can alternate. It really complements each other. So I could see this being the training version of this. And with this kind of foam, I didn't even think that now you don't even need a carbon plate in here. You could have like a maybe like a P-Bax plate, something that's not carbon, but it can propel you forward. So again, super shoes do not work unless you work. When you pick it up, you will feel it. So if you go on a slow jog, you'll feel comfortable, but you won't think that, is this worth my money, because I don't feel like it's helping me. But once you start pushing it, you really feel everything coming to you. So my experience with these shoes so far, I really think this is a huge upgrade from the Rocket X to the Rocket X2. It looks beautiful, but you know, I haven't said anything negative about the Rocket X2. That is not correct. I'm about to tell you one thing that I did not really think was, well, it's not a true fit to size. Every Hoka shoe that I've put on for at least men, myself, everything is 10, it works well. My toe area is really comfortable, it's nice and loose, but when I ran with the Rocket X2, it was super tight on my right foot specifically. And my toe, middle toe would be very sore. My pinky toe, forget about it. I would try to stuff in it to kind of like stretch it a little bit before I go run. It still didn't work as much as I would like to work. So I will say that if you want to buy these shoes, maybe look into a half size bigger, and it might be better for you, because unfortunately super shoes are very narrow. If one thing I would like to tell Hoka right now, if you guys are watching this, it'd be cool to make a wide version of a super shoes. I don't think there's any wide version on the market. And if it is, please let me know in the comment below, because I would like to know. I just don't know myself personally. So I think if super shoes also give wide width, it's gonna give opportunity to other people who have wider foot to run in these shoes, even though they're curious about it. I believe there's a lot of people out there who want to try super shoes, but it's too narrow for them. So I think it'll be good to have different kinds for everybody out there, so everybody can enjoy these beautiful shoes. So would I recommend you to buy the Rocket X2? If you have the money, I think it's worth it. But if you don't, if you still have the Rocket X and you don't want to upgrade right now, I think it's worth holding to that because it also does the job. The thing is though, this is much better, much more efficient, much lighter. Even looking at it, you know it's ready to go. That look that you see, the feeling you get from looking at it, that's exactly how the shoe performed if you work. But if you don't work, you don't get it back. So if you want to just get these shoes just to put it on and use as a daily runner, I would say don't do it. Based on the price right now, I know the Rocket X was $200. The price has dropped to $149 on the Hoka website, and this is to be sold in March of 2023 this year at $250. And I think it's a very good price in terms of if you look at other super shoes that are nearing the 300 mark. I will say though, the one thing that the Rocket X has over this, in my opinion so far, I know I've only put 30 miles on this, I think this will have a longer life longevity than this one. Tell me if you think that's correct once you get to try this on, because this foam, even though it's not PBA, it looks like it has more durability. Even looking at it, I pawned these shoes, I put so many, I'm definitely nearing around 250, 300 miles with these shoes, and it looks like I can put another 200 miles, 300 comfortably on it. It's looking sturdy. With these shoes, when I look at the bottom, even though the shoe is amazing and it has these little pads, the pads that are over here that can give you the grip that you need, I do feel like I can easily chew through that, and if I chew through that, it's gonna start touching the PBA foam itself, and the PBA foam is really light and it doesn't look as durable. It feels, I always say marshmallow, yo, marshmallow. So I think that if you imagine running with a marshmallow, it's gonna be a cheese grater immediately. So based on my experience so far, I do feel like the Rocket X, the only thing it will have on top of the Rocket X2 is longevity. And I cannot say 100% yet, but based on just what it feels like and it looks like, I think that might be the case. When that happens, I'll let you guys know. I'm gonna do around like a 200, 300 mile review to let y'all know if I think it is as durable as the Rocket X. Rocket X is beautiful to me now because the way it makes me feel, because it gets the job done. Come on, Alafine won the Olympic trials with his shoes, and now she even said she didn't believe in super shoes until she tried the Rocket X2 because it did the job that they said it would do. And yeah, so that is my opinion in my review, Rocket X versus Rocket X2. If you're thinking about one or the other, definitely go Rocket X2. And it will make you run fast if you put the work in. And if you're extremely fit, you put the work in, their shoes will give you some PBs and some PR. So my goal is to use the shoes to set some PB for myself this spring. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. This is based on feel. It's not about numbers. The numbers, this other channel, like I said, you can check it out. Let me know whichever video you want to see in the near future. And remember to keep giving your best no matter the circumstances, and your best is different every single day. I'll see you in the next one. Let's get it. Rocket X, Rocket X2, baby. Let's go.